it gives them a chance. If he can continue to be a pest on that defensive end, creating steals, generating offense for them, he was spectacular in game number 1. I believe Kawhi going to get you about 32 anyway, but he needs another guy to be an elite scorer. Kyle Lowry gets it done tonight.
I think for them, the other guy tonight has to be Pascal Siakam on both ends of the court. He did a pretty decent job defensively, but it took a lot out of him after the first quarter offensively. 6 for 20 in the game, and the majority of those makes came early. He had been their second best player early in this postseason. I think he's going to win Most Improved Player. He has an excellent trajectory he's looking forward to in his career. They need that right now if they're going to get back in the series against
Mangini. He's trending.
He's emerging. That's what Mangini would say. He's emerging.
All right, let's stay with this series right here. The Hamptons 5 has been without KD since Game 5 of the West Semis, and the Splash Brothers have led the way in his absence. They combined to score more than half of the Warriors' points last night. So, Chris, the Warrior that needs to step up most with Kevin Durant sidelined is blank.
And it's a guy that's playing spectacular basketball, as good as we have seen him play, and that's Draymond Green. And we've seen him play good basketball for a long period of time. And the reason why he's got to step it up, Jenna, he does so many things for them. He ignites their defense. He keeps their energy levels high on a gamely basis, getting the defense and protecting the rim. 4 blocks in last night's game, orchestrating the offense. He got 5 blocks in the game. My statistician's on vacation. He
actually is.
He has some crazy wedding and everything.
That's
he ain't
what he
getting
says.
hit, but yeah, he's having a good time. So Draymond Green, it's incredible. I mean, his play last night was a special stat line.
Much like Draymond, when we say step up, he's already playing great. My guy is Steph Curry. He's already playing great. So I'm not saying Steph needs to be better, but he has stepped up by playing at this level. Since KD's been hurt, Steph's had 2 bad quarters. The first half of Game 6 against Houston, he was great. Once KD went down in Game 5, he was great the second half of Game 6, and Games 1 and 2, averaging 36 a game, being extraordinary, having great gravity on the Blazers defense, pulling people away from the rim. Steph has been spectacular without Kevin Durant. He's got to keep that going, so Steph's my answer.
All right, let's talk some Anthony Davis now. According to reports, AD has not backed off his trade demand, despite the Pelicans winning the Zion sweepstakes. The Lakers, Celtics, and Knicks are among the front runners to pull off a deal. So, Nick, the asset the Pelicans should target in an AD trade is blank.
An elite draft pick, a top 4, top 5 draft pick, meaning R.J. Barrett, meaning Darius Garland, if you like him more. I don't know why you'd like Cam Reddish more, but whichever player other than Zion and Ja in this draft you think profiles as a multi-time All-Star, that's the best asset you can get, unless someone's going to trade you a guy who already profiles as a multi-time All-Star, and I don't see that one coming, so I think a top 5 pick is the best asset they can get.
Yeah, I think Tatum, you'd have to include him. I prefer a guy that's played 2 NBA seasons, has some experience, you know he's going to be able to shoot the basketball. What these other guys as pro, I don't know what they're going to be. Now, I'm a little concerned about the draft picks after that, what kind of players I am going to get, but right now I'm trying to target Tatum with the Celtics, get him in New Orleans. I believe you also spread the court. He's also another Dookie, so you got a Dookie playing with Zion, so you still got that storyline.
I forgot about the Dookie part of it.
I'm trying, man. I'm trying.
Appreciate that.
Finally, rival NBA executives reportedly believe the Lakers could actually form a big 3 this summer. That would mean signing Kyrie and trading for AD. But Nick, the team that most needs to acquire a superstar this summer is blank.
Man, the New York Knicks. We can't. I believe Kevin Durant's going there, but they got to get him. They can't be having to convince their fans 14% chance of getting Zion is 100% chance. Miss out on him, and then you've got all these folks on TV, such as myself, telling Knicks fans for a year Kevin Durant's coming, and then have him not come. Like the answer, the Knicks have no superstars. They need the first one. That's Kevin Durant.
Yeah, the paperwork and everything. It's just a technicality.
Okay.
Kevin Durant is already in New York. We need another superstar with LeBron James. Because poor LeBron James, I can't have Nick Wright another year on this show complaining, whining. Man, he make the playoffs. Because he don't make the playoffs again, he canceled as far as one of the greatest players ever, all right? So he got one more season, all right? Because if he was the greatest player ever, he'd have his team in the playoffs last season.
Missing the playoffs back-to-back years cancels you out?
No, it would, where he is, where he trying to go, it would cancel him out.
Okay, all right.
You would say he's better than LeBron James. The 2 years in a row the Lakers missed the playoffs.
You mean better than Michael Jordan?
Yeah, him too.
Yeah, well, listen, he already is better than Michael Jordan. He can't go backwards. You don't know going backwards.
You made Michael Jordan come backwards. He had to come back for LeBron to catch him.
No, he stopped.
And
Christopher Broussard. Good news. Chris, what's your middle name?
Dana.
Oh, like Barrow.
Surprise.
Wow.
Yes.
Yeah. That was not what I was waiting for or expecting. Warriors haven't lost a game since he went down. Jeffrey was what I was.
Jeffrey. Let's do the television.
The bad news. We got 3 hours of this. I wanted to veer left for 1 second.
She looked at me like that's a girl's name.
No, I did not. I did not do that.
they're heading to the refrigerator.
Yeah,
They've got at least 2 more games to go without the 2-time reigning Finals MVP and Kevin Durant. KD won't even travel for games 3 and 4. Here's head coach Steve Kerr on KD's outlook.
He continues to progress, and he has made progress, but it's a little more serious than we thought at the very beginning.
It's unfortunate, but it's part of the game, and we'll desperately need him to three-peat. That's no secret about that.
Broussard, what are you hearing about Kevin Durant, and can they win a title without him?
Well, I think it's going to be very tough to beat Milwaukee without Kevin Durant. But I will pick them. If Durant's there, I pick him very much confidently. If he's not there, I'm still picking him in 7 games. There are a lot of reasons to go with Milwaukee, the length, the shooting, all that. But Golden State's offense without Kevin Durant is so unique in today's NBA. The casual fan thinks, oh, they just hoist a bunch of three-pointers. No, they're not near the top or in the top 5 in three-pointers attempted generally. They were second in the league in mid-range shots. They get backdoor layups. They get dribble drives. And
just
obviously
like
they shoot threes.
The most important bucket of the game, they ran a simple pick and roll. People are like, oh, how can they leave Draymond open? Because Steph has split the double team. Steph has stopped before the double team, shot the ball. This time, he kept dribbling and forced the defense to come to him to create the easy layup. It is far more complicated, Chris, than it looks.
And you look at and Milwaukee's a great defensive team. They're long and they can be physical. Bledsoe, Malcolm Brogdon, you mentioned, like they can get physical with the guards in Golden State. But they have been facing one-man shows in Detroit. Blake Griffin. Kyrie made Boston a one-man show because he shot like 40 times more than any other teammate. In Toronto, Kawhi, one-man show. At the very least, Golden State's a 2-man show with Klay and Steph, and then Draymond can make plays. And their bench has actually stepped up. Everybody talking about they're not that deep, and I get it. But since Kevin Durant went down, the bench has averaged 34 points a game. Like Kevon Looney is playing great. You know, they have really stepped up. So I'm gonna say even without Kevin Durant, they can win this title.
What would it mean for KD if he don't play again and they win the title?
I think he needs to leave. Like, for sure. Like, we think he's leaving anyway, but Marcus Thompson, who I know you guys know, covers the Warriors for The Athletic, has covered them for years. He just came out with a book called Kevin Durant's Relentless Pursuit to be the Greatest. If KD indeed wants to be the greatest, the GOAT, past LeBron James and all, you got to leave.
But if they win the title this year without him, people already want to say there are some asterisks attached to those first 2 titles for him with him. I think it would be, I think for him personally, it would be the worst case scenario of if he can't come back, and it wouldn't be his fault. And if they were to win the title without him, they beat Milwaukee or Toronto, I suppose, without him. No, I don't think anyone would think, well, they would have lost with him, right? So he would have.
But it just looks like they didn't need you.
It looks like you were a luxury, not a necessity. And that would be the worst thing for him. What would be the best thing for Kevin Durant would have been if they struggle with Portland without him, he comes back and they mop the floor in the NBA Finals. Doesn't look like they're going to struggle with Portland, and I don't think with or without him they can mop the floor with the Milwaukee Bucks in the NBA Finals.
Can they beat him?
Listen,
without him?
I think Milwaukee will beat the Warriors with or without Kevin Durant. But could they beat him with him? Yes, of course they could. I'm not saying they're a heavy favorite. But I also think they could beat him without him. You mentioned that they're number 2 in the league in mid-range shots. Well, that's a lot in large part because of Kevin Durant. They changed their style once he's gone, and a 36-game sample is a 36-game sample. They are 32-4 when Steph plays and KD doesn't, including 29 of their last 30.
5-0 in the playoffs.
Draymond gets better, Steph gets better when Kevin Durant isn't out there. Even if the team doesn't, those two guys raise their game to a degree. Klay seems like a metronome. No matter who's on his team, no matter what's happening, he's going to give you about the same level of production. So would they still have a shot without Kevin Durant? I believe absolutely unequivocally yes.
Yes, because they know how to win games. They mastered that last 4 or 5 minutes. They're the only team that's faced any type of pressure. They have that to be able to go to. I believe they're the best defensive team left in the playoffs. When they want to lock you down, they can do that. How Milwaukee's going to react to everything, we don't know. Do have a huge home court. I disagree with you on Kevin Durant because let's just say this. If Kevin Durant came, because you're picking Milwaukee either way.
Yep.
Wouldn't that hurt his legacy if he came back and they lost?
So if Kevin
Durant comes back and they lose to Milwaukee,
lose.
Because you said if they win, it's going to hurt his legacy.
I think it is. I think
so. Really, ain't nothing Kevin Durant can do.
No.
Right, you're saying You're saying if he comes back and they lose, that's worse than if they win it without him.
I disagree with that. I think that
because now he's lost in the finals. If he's going to be the greatest ever,
well, he's already lost in the finals once. Just not with these guys.
Now he's got 2.
Right.
And
both of them hurt his claim for the greatest ever.
Absolutely.
Right.
Now, the reason why Steph and them are going to have problems in the future is because they got a up 3-1 loss on their resume. People don't like to talk about that, so that's going to keep them from a. They can only go so
Jordan Bulls
so high now. So for me, I believe that Kevin Durant still has great possibilities if he comes back because I believe they need Kevin Durant against this Milwaukee team, but. Kevin Durant's legacy is all based on him going somewhere else, and I still believe it won't be able to ever get as high as LeBron James, and no one's going to be able to approach Michael Jordan.
You said
what if they lose? If they lose in the finals with Durant, is staying in Golden State now on the table more than it was before? Because if he's leaving, and I think there are other reasons he may go to New York, but if he's leaving mainly because of his legacy and people think he needs to go somewhere else and win it, if they lose in the finals with or without him, then he could stay there. And, now it's like they definitely need Kevin Durant.
I
feel like this is already, everything's in place except for the signed documentation. Like, I think
already
Kevin
made up his mind.
This is the one thing this is the reason why we can't do that, Nick. Because Kevin Durant, we don't know him.
He could change his mind.
People close to him are like, he could change his mind.
But you said something right there that a moment ago that I just want to key on for a second because it's really interesting. Because I remember when we talked about the Warriors last year, you were of the belief, and I think throughout this year, that one of the downsides of getting KD is you sacrifice the depth, and that to beat the best teams in the league, you can't lose one of your star guys. You can't lose Klay, Steph, Draymond, KD to beat the very best teams in basketball. Is what's changed in your mind what we've seen them do since KD went down? Their ability to instantly activate? Or is the team like, because I was surprised that you just said you thought they could beat the Bucks or the Raptors if KD doesn't play. That's not what I thought you were going to say.
Yeah, because I've seen them pull out games. I know they have a system that there is no defense for. And if they get hot, there ain't nothing you can do. Like anyone who think that this team right now is not a championship team, they crazy or they just don't like them with KD. Now, one thing I am going to tell you too, and the reason why the Warriors in the 2 times they won with KD, it's different, is because LBJ was there.
Sure.
If they had won 2 against someone else, then it would be different. But because LeBron was there, they will get full credit. Like all championships are not equal, but because who they beat, all right, it becomes more significant than a normal championship.
Loved having you here this week.
Great job.
Broussard, thank you so much. Safe travels back to LA. Coming up, can the Lakers find a superstar to pair with LeBron? Next on First Things First.
Good stuff, man.